Good morning. I would like to tell you a story of this week's Sidra Vayeira. Right in the beginning, I want to tell you what the Torah says, and I want to show you two completely different ways of reading it and some fascinating insights that emerge. It's a story that's familiar to many of us. Avraham is sitting by his tent. He sees these three strangers. He runs up to them. He offers them food and hospitality. They stay for lunch. He has promised a child. They go off. Hashem tells them about destroying the city of Sodom, and that's going to be the kind of the opening and closing brackets of the story as far as we're concerned. But the Torah starts by saying, Vayeira elav Hashem balonei Mamre v'hu yoshev petach ha'okachom hayom. Hashem appears to Avraham in the plains of Mamre, Avraham sitting at the entrance of the tent. And then it doesn't tell us what Hashem says. In almost every case in the Torah, when Hashem appears, when Hashem reveals himself to somebody, it's followed up with tangible interaction. What exactly is the outcome of this revelation of God? How exactly do they get together? Here it just says, Hashem appeared to him. Okay. Then Avraham sees these three angels. And then he says, Adonai imna matzati chen beinecha al na tavor me'al avdecha. Adonai, which means my Lord, it is generally used to refer to Hashem, but it can also mean an expression of respect to another human being. So let's hold that as an ambiguity for a second. My Lord, if I found favor in your eyes, don't pass by. Please let me get some water and everything else. And he goes and gets. Now, the first way of reading the story is like this, and this is the conventional way. This is what Rashi says, this is what we're familiar with. Hashem appears to Avraham. Why? To come and visit Avraham, who was still recuperating after his surgery. The man's just had a bris. So Hashem came to visit him. So you'll ask me, what did Hashem say? The answer is, when you go to visit somebody who's sick, the important thing is not what did they say. The important thing, if somebody says, so-and-so came to visit me in hospital. Oh, what did they say? What do you mean, what did they say? The point is, they came to visit me. Hashem came to visit Avraham. That's the beginning and end of the story. Then these three strangers came. And Avraham says to Hashem, Hashem, thank you so much for coming to visit me. Please give me a minute. I want to go and welcome these guests. And from here we see the importance of hospitality, of welcoming in visitors, of people who have nowhere to go, that you are going and taking care of them, providing them, more important even than speaking to God. That's a wonderful, beautiful lesson. That's the conventional way. My thinking is, if I was a playwright, if I was casting this as a play, you would have Avraham sitting outside the tent, you'd have Sarah in the tent, you'd have these three men walking, and Hashem's presence would be represented by a shining light that comes on. So Avraham's sitting outside the tent, and the light comes on, and Hashem's there. And then he sees these angels coming, and Avraham turns to Hashem, and he says, Hashem, please hold on, I need to go and speak to these angels. And he rushes off, and he brings in the angels. Fine. I want to propose now a second way of reading it, and I thought of this when looking at the text, and I see that actually both the Rashbam, Rashi's grandson, and the Rambam, one of the greatest men in Jewish history, both give this different, quite radical explanation. They say like this: Hashem appeared to Avraham. How? That's the introduction. That's not a separate event. This is the introduction to the story. Hashem appeared to Avraham in the personage of these three people. Hashem appeared to Avraham through the angels who came to visit. An angel is a messenger of Hashem. So if I send a messenger to go and tell you something, essentially I am telling you that thing. So Hashem sent these angels to Avraham. Hashem gave a message to Avraham through these three angels. Hashem appeared to Avraham. Now, on the one hand, you can say, okay, and the Rashbam seems to be pretty relaxed about this, that yes, Hashem sent angels, and when the angels are going, it says Hashem's going, but it really means Hashem's angel is going, and that's all right. But the Rambam has much more of a problem with this, because the Rambam has quite rigid philosophical constructs, and one is that physical and spiritual are not the same thing. There's this duality. If it's physical, it's not spiritual. If it's spiritual, it's not physical. And therefore he says, for something godly to be present in the physical world doesn't make sense. For an angel to have a physical presence can't be. So therefore he says, listen to this, it was a dream. Avraham was having a dream. Avraham dreamt of the three angels, because if the three angels are messengers from God, then it must be that he was dreaming. The Ramban says, can't be. He's preparing lunch, Sarah's making matzah, they're having this whole conversation. right? A little bit of virtual reality, according to the Rambam. This whole thing plays out within the realm of thought and imagination, not within the physical world. But I don't want to get too much into that. I just want to mention those two. These are the two narrative structures. The one way, Rashi's way, the conventional way, is saying, Hashem appears. And Avraham says, hold on, I want to go greet. The other one, the Rambam and the Rashbam, Hashem appears through these three people. And therefore Avraham rushes up and says, godly people, Hashem, representatives of Hashem, please come in. He's not telling Hashem to wait while he greets the guests. He's telling Hashem to please come into his home through the medium of the guests. That's, I hope, some excellent food for thought. Have a wonderful Shabbat.